Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're taking a look at the life and legacy of Phil Robertson.
Right, the patriarch of Duck Dynasty. A really familiar face for a lot of people.
Exactly. He passed away recently at 79, and his family shared the news. So, our goal here is to sort of understand his impact, why he resonated.
Yeah, and that news came via his daughter-in-law, Corey Robertson, on Instagram. It immediately makes you think about, his whole public persona.
Mm-hmm.
Mm,
That blend of reality TV star and, well, his deeply held beliefs.
Right, and how those two things played off each other throughout his time in the spotlight.
And we learned, didn't we, that he'd been battling Alzheimer's.
We did. The diagnosis was made public back in December 2023. His son Jace mentioned it had accelerated recently.
It adds another sort of layer to understanding him, especially in his later years.
It really does. It's a reminder, isn't it? Even these kind of larger-than-life figures on TV face very real human struggles.
Yeah, definitely. But for most people, thinking of Phil Robertson means thinking about Duck Dynasty.
Oh, absolutely. That A&E show was huge. Ran for 11 seasons.
And he was undeniably the center of it. The bold, bearded patriarch figure. He really anchored the whole thing.
That image was iconic for sure. But I think a lot of the show's appeal went deeper.
You mean his outspokenness about his faith?
Exactly. His Christian faith and that real focus on family values. That was front and center in almost every episode.
So the core of the show, it followed their duck call business, Duck Commander.
Right. But it became about much more than just the business. It was about their lifestyle, their beliefs.
And that clearly struck a chord. It turned them into cultural icons, spawned merchandise, even spin-offs like Duck Dynasty. The revival?
It really did. It tapped into something, connecting with a significant part of the audience that felt represented by those values.
It brought those kinds of conversations about faith and family into the mainstream, didn't it? On a pretty big scale.
Definitely. You don't often see that kind of explicit focus on faith on such a popular reality show.
And the family's statement after his passing really echoed that. Gratitude for his life, wanting to continue his legacy.
A legacy centered on, as they put it, love for God and others. It reinforces that the public persona and the private values were seemingly aligned.
Yeah, seems so. They also mention a public celebration of life is being planned.
Which, suggests the impact he had. It wasn't just viewers, but a wider community feeling that connection.
So looking back, it's clear he made a significant mark. His voice, his faith, that whole family image he projected. People will remember that.
No doubt. His legacy is quite complex, really.
So if we boil it down, what's the key takeaway for now?
Well, I think it really highlights the power of reality TV, doesn't it?
Yeah.
How it can elevate someone, make them a symbol.
A symbol of specific values in his case.
Exactly. Faith and family. And how presenting those consistently can resonate really deeply with a huge audience and actually shape wider cultural discussions.
Okay, so quick recap then. Phil Robertson's passing at 79 after battling Alzheimer's, the phenomenon that was Duck Dynasty, the central role of his faith and family values, and the family carrying on his legacy.
Right. And that leaves you, the listener, with something to think about, maybe. How does reality television actually influence our conversations about things like faith and family?
Yeah, and what does Phil Robertson's influence specifically tell